Hello, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I think plagues literally every single person I know to some degree, and that is perfectionism. I have definitely struggled with this through my entire life, that need to be perfect at whatever I do. I can't make a mistake. If I made a mistake, I'm going to look stupid. And for me, it has shown up so much in my business, especially as I try to create new offers or my marketing or pretty much every aspect, even with my team. Because being a leader, you're supposed to be the one that knows what they're doing. You're supposed to have it all together, have it all figured out. And when you're not perfect, somehow you get this story in your head that there's something wrong with me. People are going to judge me. They're not going to want to work with me. They're not going to listen to me. Being imperfect is somehow a very negative thing, and so we strive for perfectionism to compensate. But what perfectionism is a sign of control. And so we're going to dive into that, and I'm going to use the human design lens to really pinpoint the patterns that might come up for you when you're trying to be a perfectionist. And I'm going to dive into your human design profile lines because that tells you a lot. Your profile in your human design is how you show up in the world and what other people see in you. So there's some patterns in each of the lines that really show you what will be coming up when you're trying to be a perfectionist. And then I'm also going to talk about circuitry a little bit, the logic circuit in human design. There's a lot of perfectionism in that because you're trying to be logical and perfect when you have that energy. So I'm going to go through that today and really help you decondition from this need of being perfect, because there is no such thing as being perfect. If you are a human listening to this and you're not a robot, that means you are not perfect. And I'm sorry to tell you that, but no one on this planet is perfect. There is always going to be something, quote, flawed with you. In reality, there is nothing flawed with you. It's just humans can't be perfect all the time. At some point in your life, no matter how hard you try to be perfect, you will mess up. But that's just part of life. And I don't know, I feel like if life was perfect all the time, wouldn't it be kind of boring? Like, I like a little drama in a way. So being imperfect keeps life exciting and on your toes. So stick around. I really think you're going to find this episode so valuable because, again, so many of us struggle with perfectionism as leaders. It's not necessarily something that will go away, but I want to empower you today with a few tools and just awareness so you can start breaking that habit of needing to be perfect all the time. So to start, what is perfectionism? It is the need to be perfect, but specifically it's you trying to control how others perceive you. And that includes yourself, because we've been so conditioned through our lives that to be a strong, impactful person, to be smart, looked at as the person to go to, looked at as someone that has their shit together, it's this person is perfect. So this could show up as you wanting to impress other people and have them view you as perfect, reliable, or it could also be yourself. I think some of the profile lines, when we get into that, you'll see some of the energy we hold is that we are putting all this pressure on ourselves to be perfect and prove to ourselves that we're in control, we have it all together, when in reality we might not. And so perfectionism is all about control. And what you really want to switch to is alignment. Being able to trust yourself no matter how you show up that day, that moment. There's nothing to be shameful about. There's nothing that you need to prove to anyone, because the right people will resonate with you just being yourself. Everything I talk about is me wanting you to be your truest self. And like I said, no one is perfect. So the more that you try to be perfect, you get out of alignment from who you're meant to be. And you trying to be perfect, people will feel that. There's just this subconscious energy we all put out, and people feel when you're not just being yourself, you're kind of performing. And the biggest part of this is that not everyone is meant to like you, and you really need to be okay with that. I personally find this very empowering as a business owner because it kind of weeds out those people that just aren't for you. I mean, I know I am not meant for everyone. Not everyone is going to relate to me and what I have to say or what I'm here to help you with. And I might be doing the same exact thing as this coach over here, but someone might relate to her more than me, and that's okay. Because when I'm just showing up as myself, what I feel is just my authentic, vulnerable self, that pulls people into me. And yes, it's going to repel people, but hey, that just weeds out the people that aren't going to be a good fit. I don't want to work with everyone. I don't want to work with that person that is just not a good fit for me, because it's going to make my life 10 times harder trying to work with them. And they might not get the transformation from me because they're not wanting to listen to me, or they're not wanting to try some of the strategies I bring up. And so when I release that control of trying to be perfect and show up for everyone to like me, it really drops the shield and allows the people that are really meant for me to enter my world. Life would be so much easier if we were just surrounded by people that just love us for who we are. And so that's what I want to talk about, is dropping your shield and really just express yourself authentically so you attract the right people into your world, the right opportunities, the right, really anything in your world. It doesn't have to be just in business. I mean, you want to attract the right team. You want to attract the right clients. You want to make money, but this also overflows into all areas of life. You want to attract the right partner. You want to attract the right friends. Anywhere in your life, it's really important to just show up authentically as you, and it doesn't matter how everyone perceives you. If they're meant for you, they will stick around. The problem with perfectionism is, yes, you're trying to control how people perceive you, but it's also overriding your inner authority. And so in human design, your inner authority is how you make decisions that are meant for you. And through years of conditioning, from very young childhood, we've been conditioned to do things, live our life in a certain way based on how others tell us to live our lives, how we perceive what others want from us. But when you're not listening to this inner authority, this inner voice in you guiding you on what is meant for you, you start making decisions from our mind. Most people are making decisions from their mind because your mind wants to keep you safe, and controlling all the aspects of your life is what keeps you safe. This comes up as people pleasing. This comes up as doing what you think you should be doing. And this comes up as doing so much in your business just because you were told that is what you need to do to be successful. And all this conditioning has forced you to be a perfectionist. It has taken you away from who you're meant to be. And your mind is really the problem here. Again, you need to tap back into your body, out of the logical state, and start listening to what your body is telling you. And I did a whole episode on inner authority, so I'll link that below if you really want to dive back into inner authority. But what you need to know is your inner authority is what guides you to the right opportunities, the right people, everything that is right for you and meant for you in this world, it guides you to. But when you're being this perfectionist, it's causing you to go in this logical mind. Your mind starts interfering in trying to be perfect. And when you're trying to make everything perfect, it really disconnects you from making authentic connections with other people. And specifically in business, when you're constantly trying to be a perfectionist, it really creates this disconnection. When you're trying to be a perfectionist, you're performing. And when you're constantly performing, it's really hard to make authentic connections, deep connections with people. It's hard to make connections with your team. And when you don't have those deep connections, it's hard for them to really want to be motivated to do a good job when they feel disconnected from their boss. Or you feel disconnected from those around you, your clients, your family, because you're constantly trying to be perfect and put on this face that's not really you. And the second part is when you're constantly in your mind, you either go into analysis paralysis, or you are trying to make every single thing perfect. And so you keep planning and planning and planning forever and never actually delivering results. You try to be perfect, so you delay putting yourself out there because you have to be perfect however you show up. If I was trying to be a perfectionist doing this, I would never release a podcast episode because I would be constantly like, oh, I said that wrong, blah, 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 and then repeating sentences. And it's just like, no, just show up as you, Erin. People are going to like the words you're saying. They're not going to pay attention if, oh, I just said like 100 times. Because I know I do have a tendency to say like or just or but also that's just me. If someone doesn't like that, okay, maybe we're not a good fit. I don't mean to do it. It just comes out. But if I constantly got in my head, I would never get anywhere. If I was a perfectionist all the time, I wouldn't be growing my business because I wouldn't be moving. I would be just paralyzed. And also another part of this is when you're trying to be a perfectionist, sometimes there's a lot of procrastination. You create busy work. You create things for yourself to do because it's too stressful to go do that thing, because what if you mess up? So why don't I just not do it, put it off, so I don't have to worry about it and worry about if I'm going to be perfect. It's putting this added pressure on yourself that's not needed. And another big thing with perfectionism is there is so much for you to do, but you never get it done because you keep tweaking, you keep adjusting. Instead of just launching, experimenting, see what happens, make tweaks later, but you're trying to control the outcome. And when you keep trying to control the outcome by being perfect, you never actually take the steps you need to just put it out there, let the people tell you what needs to be fixed, and then make corrections as you go. Business is so much about experimentation and trying things, seeing what works, and making moves and adjusting as you go. So being a perfectionist as a leader, as a business owner, as a CEO, as a businesswoman, perfectionism is your greatest killer of success because you're not making the moves you need to make to grow, to really thrive. And so your human design inner authority is the biggest piece to this, and really listen to it. No matter what your logical mind tells you, no matter what fears come up, listen to your inner authority. Like I said, I did a whole episode on this. I'll link it below if you need a reminder on what your authority is. But for me, I have an emotional authority. So I really need to pay attention and not let my emotional fears override making the best decision for me to grow my business. For today, I really want to focus on your profile lines in your human design because it tells you so much about where this perfectionism patterns might show up for you. I do want to say, pay attention to all 6 different profile lines. Each of us, our profile is made up of 2 numbers. So my profile is a 4-6. And so what that means is the 4 has a certain energy and the 6 has a certain energy. So pay attention as I go through these lines when one of your lines comes up. But I also want you to pay attention to all the lines because even though my profile is a 4-6, I have a lot of line 1 energy. So I really relate to the patterns that show up for a line 1. So even though your profile might not have one of these lines, you might relate to one of these other ones, and it's just really good awareness to build and say, oh, maybe that does sound like me, and maybe I need to make a little adjustment, even though that profile line's not yours. And if you want to dive into this, you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll give you personal feedback on your profile if anything comes up. But just listen with an open mind and pay attention to what your body's telling you. Does something really relate? Ooh, that's really me. Or something like, I'm feeling called out. That is a good thing. This is nothing to be ashamed of. I just want you to take this information and build awareness. Because when you have this awareness of your patterns, then you can make tweaks. And you don't need to self-identify with these. It just have the awareness so then you can move through what you're feeling and not let it hold you back from what you need to get done to really be successful. So, line 1, you are an investigator. You love learning. You love knowing every last detail of something. You love researching. You're the one that maybe plans a trip and you know every minute of your trip is going to be planned because you find so much joy in planning, researching, knowing everything about the place you're going to go. This is amazing. Line 1s are great for the other lines that don't like the research. But with all this research, you might be thinking you don't know enough. And to be honestly, you will never know it all. So your perfectionism pattern is that I need to take one more class. I need to read one more book before you even share your knowledge because you don't think you know enough. You're looking for a really solid foundation to give you that confidence to start speaking. It's a control of seeking security and safety through information, and that causes you to also overthink. But You don't need to know everything to show up. You don't need to sign up for one more class. When your inner authority is telling you to move, you need to just move. You know enough. People are going to come to you and you will be able to answer the questions, whatever they need to know. You'll be able to serve them. And this doesn't mean you can't take another course. It just, don't stop yourself from sharing all your knowledge out of fear. Just do it. You already know enough. Just move. And a good sign of this is that as much as you love researching, maybe suddenly the research no longer feels fun. It feels a little bit forced and it feels like pressure. And that's a good sign that, nope, tap back in. Okay, I need to move. Let's move. And I have a lot of line 1, like I said, so I really relate with this. Even though I'm a 4-6, I have to pay attention to, like, Erin, no, you know enough. Just make the move. Because I love courses. I will sign up for all the courses. I love research. I love it all. But it is also a procrastination mechanism. So even though I'm a 4-6, it's really good for me to know this. So line 2, you are a hermit. You go through phases of needing to be by yourself, to re-energize yourself, to just kind of like be in your own energy, to recalibrate. But you are also extremely knowledgeable. You are a natural talent. And the biggest thing is, because these are natural talents, you can't necessarily explain how you do it. People will come to you and be like, how did you just do XYZ? And you'll be like, I don't know, I just did it. And that is a great thing, but your natural gifts are often hiding from you because you can't explain them. You don't see these natural talents in you. So what's really important for you is to have the right people around you, or even using like AI, like ChatGPT, to help you see your natural talents so you're able to put them out there to help you explain what you do, because people are looking for you for answers. And when you can't exactly explain what you're doing, that's okay. So you don't get caught up in perfectionism, because you might feel like, well, shit, I don't know what I did. And then like create this shame thing. It's like, well, I just did it. And like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I explain something? And then you're trying to be perfect and try to explain yourself, but you don't need to explain yourself. You just need to ride the wave and like, this is just me. I don't need to have an answer, but at least show up and have people pull out your natural talents for you. So line 3 is the experimenter. And now if you're a line 6, the first 30 years of your life, you are a line 3. So pay attention if any of this resonates with you. So the line 3 as an experimenter is you move through trial and error constantly. And that means you will try something and it might be successful, or there might be a failure. And this is going to be your entire life. The thing is, when you fail often, you could create this layer of shame. Why do I keep failing? Why can't I just get this done in the first try? And so you create this fear of failure. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with failure, because you are that key person in this world who tries things and is able to teach people from your trial and error. So you tried something, you failed, you tell someone, nope, this isn't the way to do it. You try again. This is the better way to do it. So you learn best by making mistakes to see what works better. So much conditioning is around failures and then the comments you get from other people or the perceived perception of other people. What keeps you thriving is your ability to experiment. So never stop experimenting. There will be failures. Celebrate those mistakes and failures, because that is how you evolve. The biggest thing for you is also don't identify with the mistakes. This is just a natural part of how you move through the world, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. You are very resilient because you have fallen on your face, but you always get back up, and that is super duper powerful. So don't be ashamed of your experimentation. You'll have failures, you'll have successes, and it's all part of your natural rhythm. There's no way you're going to avoid failure in life. This is for anyone, really. So don't be ashamed when you do. Don't let that hold you back. Don't let that cause you to be a perfectionist, because you can't avoid failure. It's just part of who you are. Next is line 4. This is the opportunist networker. And what this means is not necessarily like you're a super social person, because me as a line 4, I'm not super extroverted like the life of the party, but You get all your opportunities from your network, those around you. And so you need to cultivate this network that people support you. But it's really hard for people to support you when you're trying to be a perfectionist in managing your image, how people perceive you, because you don't want to be seen as wrong in your network. You're very intentional about who you surround yourself with. You might be people pleasing too much just to make sure those people stay in your life. You're making them happy, so they want to stay in your network. So the less perfect you are, the more you're going to connect with the right people for your network. It's this fear of being kicked out of the tribe. And so you try to be in control of your environment. But again, this is not going to bring the right people into your network. All your opportunities come from the people you know. So the more authentic you could be in asking what you want and showing up just as you, the right opportunities are going to come. So the biggest thing for you, just stop people pleasing out of fear. Say what you need and the right people will show up. Next is line 5. And you are the universalizer. What this means is you bring people together. You have so much knowledge and people see you for that. So part of this is amazing because you could really help people because you have a lot of this just inner knowing on what people need. But also people see you as their savior and you are here to fix everything for them. So it's really important for you to protect your energy. And you feel this pressure to be perfect because you're trying to protect your reputation. If you're not perfect, then people won't look for you for help. And if you're not helping other people, your energy is going to drain because you are here to help other people. You have to really be careful of people's projections onto you, their expectations of you. They see you as that fixer, but you're not actually here to fix everyone's problems. You know things and you can help people, but you need to be intentional about who you want to help. And this is all about boundaries. You being perfect is going to attract the wrong people. And so the more that you could just show up authentically and not perfect, more of the right people that you're able to help will come into your field. Really pay attention to what your inner authority is telling you and making sure that you have the right boundaries in place to attract the right people. And lastly is line 6, and this is the role model. The biggest thing about the role model is that, yes, people look up to you, but you don't need to be a role model. You just need to be a human being and be authentic. Your wisdom comes through all that trial and error from the first 30 years of your life is acting like a line 3. A lot of your wisdom comes through your experiences. That is how you become a role model. But you have to go through that trial and error, that experiencing life to share that wisdom. And you can't be a perfectionist and collect all that wisdom. Perfectionists don't have a ton of wisdom because they're only going by the books. And to be a role model, you need to experience all life has to give. And part of it, I want to say role model, but that also kind of puts high standards on you. So you try to be perfect because people are looking up to you. But I also want you to know it has nothing to do with being perfect. People are going to look up to you for being authentic and vulnerable and sharing your trial and error. I try to come up here and just say how my life is going and not sugarcoat it. Yes, I go through ups and downs and struggle in my business. I'm not perfect. I'm going through this right along with you and trying to figure out life. And the more that I could share that, that's what builds connections. Being a perfectionist does not draw people into you. They're not going to look up to you as a role model if you're trying to be perfect all the time because they can't relate to that. The biggest mistake, no matter what profile you have, is to not show up as a human. You want to connect with people, and the more that you're able to connect authentically to people, your life is going to be so much easier. And it's all about balancing the energies of your profile, because you don't want to focus just on me being an opportunist and networker. It's like, no, I also need to pepper in just who I'm being as a line 6 and having this nice balance. And that's what's going to balance out this need to be perfect all the time, because there's these two energies at play. And the more that you're able to neutralize these two energies, the more that you're able to just move with grace and energy and just be the person that you want to be. Next, I wanted to touch on the logic circuit a little bit, but I think I'm going to end here because the logic circuit is a more advanced part of human design. And I think if you just focus on understanding the patterns of your profile lines of how you could show up as a perfectionist, That is the first step, and that's what I want you to focus on. Because releasing the need to be a perfectionist and trying to control everything is really just about building awareness, being able to name it, not identify with it, and then ask yourself, do you really want to be this perfect, or do you want to just be yourself? Everything I'm talking about today is I want you to be you. I want you to be your most authentic self. Show up how you want to show up. Forget what everyone else tells you to be, what everyone else wants you to be. It really only matters what you want to be, who you want to show up as, and just being you. When you just show up as you, it releases so much pressure on yourself. However you show up that day, that is what the world needs. And when you understand that and you celebrate that, those imperfect moments, that is when the magic happens. That's when you start to evolve and grow and really just become who you were meant to be. It's not about spiraling yourself in judgment or shame when you're not perfect. It's about noticing it and choosing a different way, not letting those fears take over your life. Because I want us all to just rise into the powerful leaders we are capable of being. And this is the first step to really get there. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Perfectionism is something I struggle with a lot, and it's always coming back to what I talked about in this episode that really pulls me back into, no, I cannot be a perfectionist, show up as who I want to be. And that is what keeps me aligned and moving forward in my business. So I really hope you learned a lot from this episode. If anything comes up, you have any questions, if you want to share anything that has bubbled up in you, please share. I love hearing from you. Leave comments, DM me, send me an email. Plenty of ways to contact me. Please share. I love hearing from you. And it would mean the world for me if you left a review, subscribed, and you shared this with someone else that is struggling with perfectionism today. Thank you again, and until next time, keep rebelling, keep rising.